I'll just get started then. And what we'll do is then we'll just go right into a couple of meditations. I'll just describe them. What I'm going to do is just turn off my camera so there's no one looking at you while you're meditating, and you can just relax and focus and just listen to the sound of my voice on my new to me microphone. All right, well, welcome everyone. And we're going to start with two meditations. The first one will be a visualization, and this will maybe recollect the 9 rounds breathing meditation, which was also a visualization meditation. And then the second one is going to be an analytical meditation. And that will be like the one we did last week, transforming negative experiences into positive. Again, these are all handouts that are available from our website at TNL. So let's begin with the purification with light meditation. I'll go over the four stages of the meditation. We'll start with calming the mind. So now that you've sat down and we're going to begin the final meditation class of this course, just sit comfortably on your seat, or if you prefer a cushion, you can use that, and focus your attention on your breathing. Again, this is calming the mind. So what we do here is we just arrive and become present through focusing on the breath. If it's been a long, busy day, you might also want to just scan through your body. That's a very basic preliminary meditation you can do just by starting at, starting at your feet and moving upwards to the top of your head and then back down again. Or you can use counting the breaths. If you wish, if you're comfortable, you could do the 9 rounds breathing meditation to get started. Anything at all, doesn't really matter. The whole idea is just, again, to arrive, to relax the body and calm the mind. Our goal here is very modest. We just want to put our mind in a neutral, quiet state. So focus your attention on your breathing. Just breathe naturally and quietly. So let your mind settle and bring it to a state of deeper focus and concentration, ready to engage in meditation. I'll give you a few moments to do this. Now that our breathing has begun to slow, body has started to relax, we're calming our mind and becoming present. We've reached, hopefully, a neutral state, just quiet and inward. Now we generate our motivation for our meditation session. So this is where we generate the positive energy and also the direction for our session. We need energy, resolve, and a positive tone to support what we're going to do next. One way you can do this is to call up an altruistic motivation by imagining how meditation can change you positively. Any kind of positive experience you've had in the last few weeks, maybe some of the benefits I've told you about, or some of your own goals. Just imagine that this meditation you've done over the past while has changed you positively, making you better able to help yourself and help others. Here is the main body of the meditation. This is called purification with light meditation. So again, we return our focus to our breath, breathing normally and naturally, focusing on the complete duration of each inhalation and exhalation. You may notice as you get more familiar with meditating that your breath grows softer and softer. This is a good sign. Means that you're successfully calming your mind and also calming your body and your breath. As you exhale, imagine that all your negative energy, past mistakes, distorted conceptions, and disturbing emotions leave your body with your breath. Visualize all this negative energy as black smoke. Send it out into space where it vanishes completely. As you breathe out these negativities again and again, feel confident that you are gradually freeing yourself from all traces of negativities, faults, sickness, pain, or delusions. As you inhale, imagine that all the positive energy in the universe enters your body with the breath in the form of pure, radiant white light. Visualize this light flowing through your nostrils, down into your body, and into every part and corner of your body, pervading every cell, every atom, every organ. As you do this, imagine your body gradually becoming clearer and clearer, lighter and lighter, more and more transparent. As this happens, you feel more and more relaxed, light, and blissful. Visualize this continuously, repeatedly, again and again. Continue to concentrate on this experience, breathing out the black smoke of your problems, illnesses, pain, and negative energies, and breathing in the white light of purifying, blissful, good energy. When you are distracted by feelings or sensations or other input from the environment, simply observe these distractions without reacting or getting involved. If you think it's helpful, imagine that they too transform into black smoke and then breathe them out into oblivion. Well, that completes the main meditation. And to wind up, we dedicate. So just dedicate all the positive energy you've created through the practice of mindful meditation to becoming a better and better person who is more at peace in life and who can bring more peace and well-being to others in every moment of every day. That is the visualization, the purification with light meditation. So visualization, easy to do. I find this one quite effective. I think it's helpful even just for a few minutes to do this. Any observations or questions? Okay, well, we'll next go right into another meditation. Now that we've calmed our minds, we've moved into a present and neutral state, then we did something very positive. So we should be feeling a little bit better after our long days. So we will next go into an analytical meditation called the Equanimity Meditation. So again, I'll just turn off my video so there's no one looking at you and you can just relax. And yeah, if you need to, just squirm around a little bit. Just make sure that your posture is comfortable, that there's no kind of tension in particular. Well, where do we tend to keep tension? Well, I guess it differs for everyone, but definitely for me, it's in my shoulders, neck, jaw, maybe in the furrow of my eyebrows, who knows? So we will next go into the equanimity meditation. And again, the first step or first portion of all of these meditations is just merely to calm your mind. So again, whatever preferred method you have, it could be a body scan, it could be just watching the breath, it could be breathing. Maybe you want to try the 9-round breathing exercise where you close one nostril, breathe in, close the other nostril, breathe out. Do that 3 times, switch, do the other nostril 3 times, and then both. Now that we've calmed our mind a little bit, we look at our motivation. And here it's a bit more specific. We think about generating the strong intention to do this meditation in order to overcome self-centered bias and judgments, jumping to conclusions about situations and people, for example, and to develop the mind of perfect equanimity and balance towards others. Here is the actual meditation. So imagine in the space in front of you 3 people. Someone you like, someone you dislike, and someone you feel indifferent toward. And try to keep these 3 images in your mind or return to them if you lose them. Try to keep them in your mind throughout the meditation. First, focus on your friend. Allow your feelings for that person to arise strongly. Feel your conviction that this person is definitely and truly a friend That is, a person who is good to you and fulfills your needs and wishes. Also, feel how you really want this person to be happy. Identify yourself with these good feelings. Now shift your attention to that mental image of your enemy, the person you dislike and who is not kind to you, who does not satisfy your needs, who annoys you and makes you angry, who hurts you. Regard this person carefully. Look carefully at the feelings you have about this person. Finally, shift your attention to the so-called stranger, the person you just barely know, but whom you neither like nor dislike. Look carefully at that person and note your feelings of indifference. Now, consider and recognize that the nature of your relationships with each of these three people and the labels you have put on each of them are based solely on what they do or don't do for you at this point in time and perhaps the recent past. You could think of people who have been your friend, but then became your enemy, and vice versa. Or strangers who became friends or enemies. Each of these labels is temporary and impermanent. Just what the situation is at the current time. Just what the situation we imagine it is at the current time. Now move your attention back to your friend and imagine a situation that would cause the friendship to end. Imagine your friend turning against you. Experience the resentment and anger and hurt that you would feel in such a situation. Do you still feel warm, friendly feelings towards that person? Do you still wish him or her well? Want that person to be happy? Where is your friend now? Remember that this person was not your friend before you were acquainted. Recognize how easily this person could cease to be your friend now, just as you have imagined. Think to yourself that there is no sound reason for feeling kind and loving toward only the friend of this moment. Relationships have changed in the past and will continue to change. Tomorrow's friend, today's friend, can become tomorrow's enemy. In particular, if we're prone to self-centered bias, judgments, and prejudices. Now move your attention to the present enemy. Imagine a situation in which you could be drawn together and become close. A common interest, a word of praise or kindness. Look at that person and your feelings toward them very carefully. Can you imagine those feelings softening, becoming warmer? You can learn to feel warmly towards your enemies. This has happened before and will happen again. Why do we hold so strongly to the concept that this person is definitely enemy? Now move your attention to the stranger and imagine how one act of kindness or anger from this person could immediately turn him or her into a friend or an enemy. There is no inherent, definite stranger there. There's no sound reason for the feelings of indifference that we hold on to. Remember that your present friend and your present enemy were both strangers to you beforehand. And this enemy could become a friend or an enemy now. Now maintain your awareness of these three people in front of you. Think about the fragile impermanence of these relationships. It is only your misconceived belief in the concreteness of these labels of friend, enemy, and stranger that holds your mind back from the possibility of change and fluidity. Your friend, enemy, and stranger all want happiness just as much as you do. In this respect, we are all equal. Also, everyone is equal in having the potential to develop their minds to the fullest extent and to achieve ultimate clarity and compassion. The differences that we see in people are superficial, based only on our mistaken and narrow self-centered views. In fact, everyone is equal in deserving our care and compassion. None of this means that we should not discriminate at all. On a practical level, our ability to distinguish between actions and individuals is necessary. Naturally, we feel closer to some people and are wise to keep our distance from others. This is not in any way contradictory to the meditation above. The point of this meditation is to develop equal concern, equal regard for everyone, for their well-being, whether they help or harm us at this point in time. And to see that the labels that we put on others are often arbitrary, mistaken, and very changeable. Well, that completes the main meditation, and we'll wind up with a dedication. And just dedicate your positive energy and perhaps any insights, maybe something interesting arose. So dedicate all of those insights as well to the well-being and happiness of all living beings. Any comments or interesting observations?
I have a comment.
Please go ahead.
I had a hard time picking an enemy. I mean, there are people that I don't like based on, how they've treated me, but I've worked hard to not consider them enemies. So I had a problem putting somebody there.
Yeah.
That's my only real comment.
Yeah. Okay, that's actually pretty amazing, Jennifer. In a way, it's us who puts the enemies there, isn't it?
I was actually feeling the same way. I was able to come up with a name or two, but it's not. I surely would never consider anyone I can think of my enemy. Maybe someone I don't like, I don't get along with necessarily. I have a strong enough personality. There's plenty of people I don't get along with, but boy,
Yeah.
pushing it to the framework of enemy for me is a bridge too far, probably.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. That's how I feel too.
That's great to hear. Maybe the students are far more advanced than the teacher. That's definitely, no doubt. So yeah, and the whole idea is, and we may feel that way briefly. There's often times where we're overwhelmed, or our regulation isn't there, and we're in difficult situations, and maybe we're depleted or tired or hungry, and those feelings arise. But the key is, recognizing it as both Jennifer and Glenn said, as recognizing that, it's just a passing thing, and we can choose to let that go. Anyone else?
I found that it was really difficult to to think about your friend or the person that that means so much to you, that thinking about that, just how that relationship could just be so easily changed. But it has me thinking about the name of the exercise, the equanimity, part of that, and it has me thinking about friendships and people, and how some things you think are permanent are not. And it's interesting.
Yeah, that's another very interesting comment. I was wondering if someone would, as I was going through this meditation with you, I was wondering if someone would bring that up. Yeah, and that definitely occurred to me as well, Emily. But there's a real key here that when we recognize that those labels are fluid and changeable, that gives us a certain amount of distance and ability to maybe relax some of our expectations we have on our friends and give them a little bit more space and breathing room. The whole idea really is to, sort of have less judgment, less strings, less kind of expectations in a relationship so that we can roll with some of those inevitable, unexpected instances where, we've all been on this earth for a while. We've all been in situations where a good friend has done something, but maybe it made you a little bit upset and wonder, are they my enemy? But the very next part of that meditation is where you work with an enemy and bring them back to being a friend. So in a way, it's a cycle. Interesting, isn't it? Very interesting. All right, well.
It has me thinking about acceptance, acceptance of people, their, flaws, their,
The profound, I guess you could call it belief or outlook here, is that there is some base level of similarity between all beings and that they do want to be happy. Now, we may be going about it in exactly the wrong way, where everything we do to try and make us happy actually doesn't turn out that way. But at least we can, resonate with people and at least look at some level that they're trying to make themselves happy. They may be trapped in that kind of that egocentric, self-centric view, and maybe, maybe they can't even see you or perceive you or what you're going through when they're making you angry, pushing you away.
Well, that's a good point. Thank you very much, Stephen. That's a good point.
Okay.
I've definitely had friends who I've known for decades, and then there was a misunderstanding, and now I don't talk to them anymore. But if they called me tomorrow, I wouldn't be angry. But and when you said turn your friend into what would, if you think about your friend, what would change that relationship? I could only think of death. If my friend died, then that would change the relationship, because otherwise I'm usually, maybe not immediately, but I'm usually willing to give people a chance, because everybody has a bad day and people don't really know each other that well. I mean, honestly, you can live with somebody for decades and not really know them. So I don't know. Maybe the meditations have helped me figure that out. So thank you.
Yeah, that's great. You're welcome. Well, how about we take just a 5-minute break so you can get up and move around, make yourself comfortable, grab a glass of water, fresh air, whatever you need. Welcome back, everyone. Well, sadly, this is our fourth and last class of this course. So I guess what I'm going to do is just sort of wrap up what we've learned over the past several sessions, just touch on new things. If anything pops into your mind, if you want to interrupt with a question, please feel free to go ahead and do that. But I'm going to cover basically the 4 parts of the meditation session. And why I'm covering them is not because you have to do them this way. You know, maybe it just feels too formal. You know, maybe it just feels stilted or something like that. And that's okay. It's your meditation session. You do whatever you find helps you. But each of the 4 parts has a certain function, and you might want to consider somehow including that function in your meditation if you want to change it around. And again, you're welcome to do that. Of course, first is calming the mind. And we know how to do that. We've learned how to do that through scanning the body and so on, and breathing. And here, the goal is to become attentive and present and just neutralize whatever you brought with you onto the meditation seat. Even just doing this portion of a meditation, I think, is amazing. If you want to, you can do this 5 minutes a day. And if you do it consistently, I think you'll see huge improvements just in kind of being able to becoming familiar or adept at calming your mind in other situations, but also just an overall more relaxation. That's the first part. The second part is motivation. And I think this one is pretty critical. So this, in the motivation, is where we generate the energy and also the direction for our session. Now, you may be completely depleted when you begin your meditation session. And in that case, it might be okay just to relax. But in this style of meditation, we actually have a goal. And you can set that goal and decide what you want to do, but we want to stick to it so that we feel satisfied with our meditation session. The idea is not to use the meditation session, again, in this style, as just time to daydream or just to zone out. So we generate the energy and direction for our session because we need that energy and resolve. And we also want to put a positive tone on our meditation as we begin it. And how we do that, and how we have been doing that in the past, is to just call up an altruistic motivation by imagining how meditation can change you positively. So yeah, there is some self-interest there naturally, but naturally, of course, by becoming a better person, you're also better able to help yourself and all those others around you. So just to explain the philosophy a little bit, or the perspective in the Buddhist view, the end result, positive or negative, of all actions, whether they're physical actions, the speech, the body, all of those are dependent on the original motivation. So on the original intention, if you like. If the motivation is good, that is focused on the positive benefit for yourself and others, it will eventually result in a positive outcome. And the greater the intended benefit in the motivation, the greater the positive outcome. Now, how do we create positive energy to support the rest of the session? Well, as I mentioned just a moment ago, there's just putting your mind in an altruistic, frame. But you can also think about the advantages of meditating and the disadvantages of not meditating. You already have some experience meditating, so you can bring those into your thoughts. But you might also want to think about the greater concentration and focus in whatever we do. We practice it on the meditation seat, but it goes with us wherever we go. And we can also maybe observe over time and consistent practice that our wild, distracted, uncontrolled, and problem-causing thoughts are reduced, maybe a little bit. So that's greater concentration. We can also think about having more awareness and calm in our mind. What that does, as we've seen in the past few sessions, is it gives us the space to make better decisions in the moment. And that results in greater happiness and peace. Again, this is a benefit that accrues to us off of the meditation seat. And so keeping these benefits in mind gives us a sense of direction for the session. Now, as we learn about these advantages of meditation, we sort of experience them ourselves. As we observe them happening in ourselves and others, your trust and faith in the practice increases. And this is trust and faith based on experience and on reasoning. So it's based on reason and investigation, not just blind faith, not just taking for granted what I say to you or what other people tell you about meditation. It's something that you've experienced yourself. Another thing you can do is find role models who you observe have benefited from meditation. And you tell yourself, I like that person. I want to be like them. So then you begin to feel, using all these methods, an aspiration to have the benefits of meditation for yourself, for a self-interested reason, but also for an altruistic reason. And when you begin to build that aspiration, and here, we're just hacking our brain, we're programming our own brain. When you generate that aspiration, you tend to become more enthusiastic and determined in your meditation practice. So that's just one way to approach building motivation in your meditation session. The other one I'm going to touch on is dedication in a meditation session. And this is where we appreciate and rejoice in our work during the session. So again, from the Buddhist perspective, the positive energy of the meditation is sealed and directed, so it itself as a thing will ripen into a beneficial outcome for yourself and others, for the good work and positive energy that you've generated. That's the Buddhist perspective. You can observe the result, though, of taking the time to dedicate, even if it's just 30 seconds after you complete your meditation session. I'm as guilty as this as anyone. Sometimes just getting off the meditation seat a little bit too quickly. That ever-present list is there of things to do. But here, if we do take the time, and here's to dedicate, and here's an example of a dedication, just rejoicing in the positive energy and insights that we've created by meditating, and dedicate them to the well-being and happiness of ourselves and all others. But what you do here is you recollect the positive energy and insight you created through your meditation practice. And even if it was a little bit turbulent, difficult, you can still feel proud of yourself having completed the meditation. And maybe it gave you insights that you didn't have before. Whatever positive energy and insight you did experience during your meditation practice, you recall that, though, and just have that feeling of accomplishment. It's accomplishment because you consider the progress you made towards the worthwhile goal of becoming a better person for the benefit of yourself and those around you. And I think that's a pretty awesome goal to have. Now, however successful we are on a day-to-day basis, I think even just having that goal is quite amazing. And then you stop your analysis and you just savor the feeling and let it sink in for a moment. This is one of the hallmarks of this particular style of meditation, is just to let go of all that work once we've done it, and then just kind of feel the results, however they appear to us. So savor the feeling, let it sink in for a moment. What that does is that leaves us with a positive memory of the meditation session. We feel good immediately after that, but also when it comes time to meditate again, we've got a true motivation to do it. We have that memory telling us, I think this is really helping me. I think it's really helping those around me. Well, let me ask, are there any questions or comments about the dedication, motivation, anything else? Excellent.
I feel like that's the motivation part that's new to me. In other meditations I've done, we haven't closed with any sort of reinforcement loop or, and I really like it. I think it's effective to, because I noticed that, Glenn was asking me earlier how did I meditate this week? And I noticed that last week, I think I meditated one time. And then this week I did 3 times. And there is a difference. I think in my day, just the clarity of it, of thought. Yeah. There's something to this meditation.
Who knows?
Who knew? Right.
Yeah, that's a great observation, Emily. And that's just a great experience for you to have. That's like so much more valid than for me to talk for like 10 hours. Really, it is, because that's your experience. Right. And plus all of this stuff about motivation, dedication is like a secret stealth teaching on karma. If you want to learn more about that, then there's far better teachers than you.
A teaser, I see.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I'll just go on then to talk a little bit about, which meditation practice do you choose? Because we saw different types of them. There's the concentration meditation. So if you want to improve, if we want to have a steady and intense focus in our daily lives and be able to get that and keep it, we can practice it on the meditation seat. And we practice it by doing concentration meditations where we emphasize the focus on the object of meditation. Now, of course, it is the whole cycle of placing the attention, monitoring it, noticing when it flags or just runs off, and then bringing it back again. It's actually that whole cycle where we generate concentration. So even if you find you have concentration for 1 second and you get distracted, you bring back your concentration, you are doing the good work. So those meditation practices that support that are counting the breath or even just watching the breath. Breath is a natural anchor for us. So it's always probably the easiest thing for us to go back to. And so that's how we complete that cycle of concentration, monitoring, distraction, returning. So that's a concentration practice. Well, another one is mindfulness. And those were the 2 skills that we really tried to focus on during this class. So mindfulness is, you can think of it as sort of a cool background awareness. Observing, monitoring, noticing, accepting what comes up, And then we use that if what does come up, if we need to do some tuning, like for example, we're getting lax or excited, maybe we've just distracted, then we use mindfulness to help us tune our mental state and then return to the object. So mindfulness meditations is where we want to have a calm, cool awareness so that we can be happy and relaxed, make better choices for ourselves in daily life. And again, when I say make better choices, mindfulness helps us regulate so that when we get in difficult situations, as we practice this again and again on the meditation seat, when we get in difficult situations in real life, we have that circuit breaker, just like that 1 or 2 seconds where we know, oh, yeah, the flames are starting to rise. Let's just put them out and then decide what to do next. So mindful meditations where we emphasize the awareness of the meditation process or mental activity are bare awareness, or meditation on the mind like the sky, or the ocean if you prefer. So that's a mindfulness meditation. Those are mindfulness meditations that emphasize the skill of mindfulness. We also have visualization meditations. And here is where we want to increase the positive qualities and aspects of our mind and make them easier to access when we need them. It's kind of like that 3-pointer we were talking about last week. I don't know anything about basketball, but I think a 3-pointer isn't it good? It's like almost as good as a 7-pointer. Is that right? For me, it would be like a slap
There's
shot.
no 7-pointer. There's no 7-pointer.
There's 7-pointers. Isn't that like when you do a field goal in basketball?
Oh yeah, field goal is 6 points in football. 3-pointer, you're right, basketball.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I only know about slap shots from the blue line, so that's what
Oh, I see.
Okay, so visualization is where we emphasize a visualization of something running through it in our minds. And for example, being able to, the one we just did, where we were able to change our viewpoint of a person in our minds, whether they were friend, enemy, stranger, back and forth, imagining them becoming strangers, becoming friends, becoming enemies. That's where we visualize that process and practice it so that, when these labels are getting control of us and maybe not helping us in the context, we're able to do that actually in reality and not just the meditation seat. Another one is just the body of light meditation. And we're going to do that one next, where we visualize our physical body turning into one made of pure light. And this is a really simple purification, cleansing meditation, where we visualize this. And then if we visualize it enough, we can enter that state relatively easily, just cleansing ourselves. Another one is the 9-round breathing meditation, where we visualize subtle channels within the body. So that's why you would want to do a visualization meditation. Analytical meditations are where we use reason and analysis to become familiar with and develop good qualities. That is, to transform our thinking through a reasoning process in order to help ourselves and others. I mean, we're reasoning all the time, but the type of reasoning that we do might not be helpful. For, what would be an example of unhelpful reasoning? Oh, I was in that situation with that person and they are just so horrible. And why are they like that? Why can't they be a better person? Where we take a certain self-centered, defensive attitude. That would be like an incorrect reasoning, or unhelpful reasoning, maybe is the better way to say that, where then we kind of play out narratives and situations and so on. But we can also turn that to our benefit and use reasoning to just remind ourselves what we kind of know, but haven't made ourselves familiar with, truly familiar with, the different reasonings that help us develop good qualities. So what are actual examples of that? Well, the meditations where we use reason and analysis are transforming negative experiences into positive. And that, I think you could say, is also a visualization meditation. Or the equanimity meditation, which teaches us to see all others, friends, enemies, strangers, at the same fundamental level, and see them a little bit more clearly, and to be able to not let the labels we place on them dominate our thinking of them. As I just said, we can also see that meditations fit into 2 or more categories, and you can get the benefits of all of those categories when a meditation crosses them, incorporates multiple categories. So an example, transforming negative experiences into positive, which is an analytical meditation, is also a visualization. And of course, you can use meditations one inside another. And that takes us back to the 9-round breathing meditation. For example, when you're becoming too distracted to do the main meditation, you can use that just quickly to settle your mind and then return. And what I'd say finally is try different meditation types. Have ones in your back pocket that you're really comfortable with. Maybe you're not feeling super motivated, or you're a little bit exhausted after the day, and you want to do those familiar meditations that you really like. But you can also try ones that are a little bit difficult. And these will be, unique to you. I can't say which ones are more difficult than others, except for myself. And you can also consider exploring guided meditations to change things up. That's important too. You want to begin with these meditation handouts, but this course really is just a springboard to a meditation practice. And of course, there's plenty of express meditations that are available on the TNL website. And, just, for a lark, you can just grab one, just come online and sit down. You might want to try that. That is, and I'm just suggesting the TNL website, but there are dozens of websites out there, and also meditation apps you could try. Whatever you enjoy, whatever you find interesting, whatever you find a good change. So explore those guided meditations to change things up. I think that's the important thing. If you're getting kind of bored, or there was last week, Shayla was on the call, and she said, "Oh yeah, I love going to the express meditations." I think what helped, and the way she explained it, what helps her is it's actually an appointment at a certain time, and she knows she has to be there. And so that goes into her calendar. And so she just goes and does the meditation. I mean, that certainly helps me. I know it helps me in other contexts as well, as just having, okay, I know I need to go to this meditation at this time, or this class at this time, and I just go. That makes it a little bit easier sometimes. So those are a few words on which meditation practice to choose. Mix it up. As you get more familiar, you can alter it as well. Try different things, different visualizations and so on. And as I said before, I really focused on the 4 parts of the meditation session, but you don't have to have them in your meditation session. You just have to understand their function and how they help you. And you can do that in other ways. And I think I gave a few examples of that. Well, after these 4 weeks, we know that from science that it's actually, even if we were meditating every day, just 4 weeks is not long enough to develop a strong habit. So what are some of the kind of supports and tricks we can use in establishing a long-term meditation practice? Again, just coming back again and again on a consistent basis 3 times a week, to establishing a long-term habit for meditation practice. Of course, start with short meditations and build up slowly. But you also want to balance relaxation with effort. So consider, like, watch yourself. Suppose you start to meditate and then after just a minute you bail, right? Well, just kind of maybe come back a little bit later and think about that. There should be some effort and some resolve in your meditation session. Not to drive you crazy, but to take you through. If you decide, yeah, I think today I'm going to do 5 minutes, then you do 5 minutes. That's kind of a training in itself. Just respecting your own decision and implementing it. So another item is try not to have expectations for a particular session or a timetable for accomplishments. Just stick to your basic practice. Because we know outside conditions, internal conditions, we may have like difficult sessions where often we might even feel like we're going backwards. And our mind is, oh, my mind is getting more and more distracted and more disturbed. Well, these things can arise during meditation. And so just try and, if you're beginning to feel frustrated, maybe look at what expectations you brought into the session. Or did you have a timetable? Were you expecting to be able to, after, a month of meditation, I don't know, levitate or maybe read other people's minds? Well, that might be an unreasonable expectation. So just stick to the practice. I'm joking here, of course. So what that means then is being non-judgmental, accepting, engaged, and curious about your experiences as you develop your meditation habit. So if you're non-judgmental, accepting, engaged, and curious, what that means is if you have meditation experiences that might be less than pleasant, that you might label as negative or difficult, and these are as natural as positive and easy meditation experiences. But if you can take like the meta view of being non-judgmental, accepting, engaged, and curious, then you can still derive benefit from even what we might think are negative meditation experiences. So it's probably better to remember that meditation is an internal and personal practice. So it's probably a good idea to refrain from talking about your successes and failures. Unless someone engages you and asks you, well, how's your meditation practice going? Then it's okay. But instead, you should really look at it, instead of talking about the practice and your time on the seat, turn that around and instead think about what skills and experiences you developed in meditation, how they play out in your daily life off the meditation seat. That's really where it matters. What the Buddhists say is, they say every teaching is both a meditation and a practice. So finally, bring enjoyment to your daily meditation practice so that you can look forward to sitting as a source of peaceful calm, positive energy, and refreshment. And so just to reiterate, just leave you with the benefits of meditation. I'll give you the list that I came up with, but now you're starting to have experiences, or you may have had experiences in the past about meditation. And they might offer like benefits that I don't even think of, I can't even think of. But here are a few, just the temporary release from the stress and confusion of life. And so that results from learning to calm the mind quickly and effectively, just using simple breathing techniques that bring us into the present, relax us physically and mentally, and reduce stress. We get comfortable with those on the meditation seat, and we can use them in many contexts off the seat as well. We can remind ourselves that the skills we develop in meditation, particularly concentration and mindfulness, are helpful in just about any situation we encounter in our daily lives off the meditation seat. For example, we struggle, I know I do, to short-term fragmented attention span and just incessant distractions. And one of the ways we can combat that is by increasing our mental stability and concentration. Meditation can help us develop our mindfulness too. And that is to remain calm or quickly and easily return to calmness in stressful situations off of the seat. And perhaps the most interesting one, and this one takes a while, but as we become more familiar with our mind by watching it and just spending time with it, looking inwards, it lets us calmly and clearly examine, understand, and train our minds from within. So in this way, this examination connects us more deeply to our lives and helps us see things more realistically. It connects us more deeply because we understand what's going on a little bit better in our minds. And it helps us see things more realistically when we can separate some of those prejudices, snap judgments, bad habits. And we can separate those from a more global view, a more reasoned view, and see things more realistically. And as I mentioned, meditation strengthens the skill of placing and keeping our attention where we choose to put it and where it serves us the best, which over time makes our life experience more positive and productive. They say all of your experience is where you choose to place your attention. And finally, over the long term, we can develop the personal qualities we value by practicing meditations that promote these qualities, benefiting us and those around us. Well, how about a 5-minute break, and then we'll wind up with the body of light meditation. Does that sound good? Oh, before I suggest the break, are there any questions or comments? Okay, break time. Thank you for those references, Jennifer. That was very kind of you to put them in the chat.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah, I should mention, as well as the express meditations, just about all of the Zoom classes that the center does, they
Yep,
also put
they're
on their
amazing.
YouTube channel. So they're all available.
Mhm,
Even if you
mhm.
wanted to torture yourself and listen to me again.
Yep, they're all
always
on
do
there.
that. Nancy is very kindly recording us tonight. All right, and yeah, okay. We had Elizabeth from New York City here for just a moment, but now when I appeared, she disappeared. Okay, we'll just have one more quick meditation. I just wind it up fast so I don't keep you guys too long after 8:30. So again, just get comfortable. I'll just turn off my video so you can relax and turn inward. This is the Body of Light meditation. So again, begin by calming your mind. Use your preferred method, whatever you think will work for you in the moment. Maybe it's getting almost habitual now. Something you can do without even thinking too much and just enjoy the ride. When your mind is calm and clear, create an altruistic motivation for the meditation session. For example, you could think that you are meditating, not just for your own individual benefit, but you are taking the time now to meditate and develop your mind, to become a wiser and kinder person, able to be a benefit to those around you as well. Here is the main meditation. Visualize in the space above your head a sphere of white light, pure, transparent, and formless, and somewhat smaller than the size of your head. Just spend a little while doing this, concentrating on the presence of the light, trying to stabilize the image. Don't worry if it doesn't appear sharply. It's just enough to feel it is there. Concentrate on that image. Use your background monitoring of mindfulness to make sure you're still focused on that image. When your concentration flags or falters, just accept that it's wandered and gently bring it back to the image of a sphere of light floating just above the top of your head. Imagine that the sphere of light represents all universal goodness, love, and wisdom. In fact, the fulfillment of your own highest potential. Then visualize that it decreases in size until it is a small, bright sphere about 1 inch in diameter. This small ball of pure, concentrated white light descends through the top of your head to your heart center. From there, it begins to expand once more, slowly spreading to fill your entire body. As it does, all the solid parts of your body dissolve and become light. Your organs, bones, blood vessels, tissue, and skin all become pure, formless, white light. Concentrate on the experience of your body as a body of light. Think that all problems, negativities, and hindrances have completely vanished, and that you have reached a state of wholeness and perfection. Feel serene and joyful. If any thought or distracting object should appear in your mind, let it also dissolve into white light. Well, that completes the main meditation. Now just dedicate your positive energy and insights to the well-being and happiness of all living beings. Well, thank you everyone. Thank you very much for coming to my little meditation class here. I really appreciate your attendance. Makes it so worthwhile for me. So
Thank
yes,
you.
Emily.
It's been great. And thank you again for putting all those PDFs and the materials link, because that's going to help tremendously.
Well, Nancy there helped a lot, and she has
Thanks, Nancy.
me up for this whole course. So I am super grateful to her. You're the best, Nancy.
So, Stephen, thank you so much for teaching. It's we were so happy when he offered to start teaching some of these classes, because he's been at the center a while and very studious, and so it's been nice having him teach. And one day we'll come to the center and see him in person.
That would be cool. Any final comments, questions, requests?
Thank you, Stephen.
Very much. Thank you.
Of course, of course. Well, you all take care, and I wish you the best in your future meditation experiences.